Welcome to KT Raw, episode 2. Let's see if I can get through this with no cut. But this is your sign to always bet on yourself, okay? If you've been in doubt, if you've been second-guessing decisions, second-guessing things, even on the field or even your life, I'm telling you right now, you have to bet on yourself. And if this doesn't relay that concept to you, I'm not sure what is. Because at the end of the day, this is your choice, how you live your life. Nobody's going to do it for you, and nobody should have so much influence on you that you don't live the way you should. So this is going to be your call, okay, to always bet on yourself, okay? I'm going to tie this back into when I used to play ball, okay, because I was one of those players who really struggled to bet on myself, okay? And this always stemmed from a couple certain things. Number one, it's always going to come down to fear, okay? Fear is going to be the number one influencer over your life, okay? But how does fear not allow me to bet on myself? Well, there's a couple different ways we can take that question. Number one, fear doesn't make you do anything, okay? Fear does not make you do anything. It is the way in which you react to your fear that changes outcomes, decisions, and things like that, okay? Fear is the imaginary force that affects my reality within the decisions I make. With that being said, just because I'm fearful or I have fear doesn't mean there's only one decision to make. It's still my decision of which choice to make, right? I can live through the fear and still make decisions despite it, or I can let the fear control me. So you can see there how those paths split and how it's not actually fear, it's how I react through it. So taking it back to when I played, right, I let fear not only dictate the decision I was making, but I always went with the path of least resistance, meaning I always let fear control me, and I never went through that barrier, okay, which is really the only way to permanently resolve that issue. So I would play in games, right, and this kind of even connects back to my last KT Raw video, but I would play in games based off of complete fear and results that I just couldn't control, okay? Through that, I never bet on myself the way that I should, okay? I would let other people's opinions and influence live through me, right, with that fear, right? And the more I was focused on those people, the external, I could never hearken or focus on my internal, which is really where that self-belief and self-confidence comes from, in which I'm telling you to bet on yourself. So my focus was so exterior that my interior got absolutely zero spotlight. And my ability was never even at the focus or forefront of my mind. It was always other people, and it was always the fear of letting those people down that took the forefront of my mind, okay? So betting on yourself, first, the very first thing you have to do is get rid of that tension, okay? Is to get rid of that distraction of the external, okay? If you have no internal belief, internal value, or internal focus, the option of betting on yourself won't even be in view. Like, you basically have blinders on when you are so controlled by external things like validation, opinions, letting other people down, things that you just simply cannot control, nor you should even care about controlling in the first place. Those are your blinders that don't even allow you to bet on yourself and think of yourself in a highly regarded manner with confidence, right? So betting on yourself, the first step is completely remove that obstacle, okay? You also have to understand this really important fact about betting on yourself, okay? It's really, really, really important fact. That fact is nobody's going to do it for you. And on top of that, nobody can do it to the caliber that you can do it for yourself, okay? So expecting somebody else to bet on you more than you is completely foolish. And it's completely unwise to even go that direction and should never even be sought after. Okay? You have to bet on yourself to your fullest ability because nobody can reach to that capacity. Okay? Because other people are worried about themselves. Okay? And you typically, if you resonate with what I'm saying right now, probably tiptoe into other people or the external world more than yourself. Okay? And you can't let yourself go. You have to recenter and reground yourself into who you are, and that's going to make it a lot easier to bet on yourself. Okay? So nobody's going to do it for you. That's number 2. Nobody will do it for you, and you have to do it to your best ability and best degree. That is one of your purposes on this earth. Okay? It's to bet on yourself, be confident with yourself, and grounded in who you are. That's number 2. Okay? That's number 2. Now, number 3. There is literally no downside to betting on yourself. When you peel back all the curtains, you take off the mask, you'll understand that the external world can't control you, or you don't even seek validation from others. There's nothing out there that can harm you or hurt you. You realize that there's literally no downside to betting on yourself in any and all situations you're ever presented in this world. Yeah, literally, bro. What do I mean by that? Well, if you think about it in a competitive sense, like a baseball sense, right? Let's say I'm betting on myself. And when I say betting, obviously I don't literally mean putting money on yourself, though I guess in essence it kind of is like that. But at least betting on yourself in the sense of you're in full control and confidence into what you can produce and what you can do, that you're always going to take your own side over somebody else's. Okay, so that's kind of what that means there. And in sport, it's a really good narrative. It's a really good driver to present that because typically you are against somebody else. Now in baseball, it's very one-on-one. It's very pitcher to hitter, which is great because it really throws this into light. And if you don't have this capability or this ability at all, it's going to be shown right in your face over and over and over until you figure it out. Okay? And when you have lack of confidence, you're nervous in the box, you second guess yourself, that is proof that you're not betting on yourself. So this is for those kind of people. I'm trying to bring this to their awareness. But back to the point, there is genuinely no repercussions to betting on yourself. Okay? The worst thing that's going to happen is you fail, right? But if you've already established in yourself that failure isn't really failure, the only failure is you reacting to failure in a poor manner. That's really the failure. Failure of not performing, making a mistake, missing a ball literally a third of an inch under a bat that you're swinging in a meaningless game that ends up going in the air straight up to somebody to catch it to end the game rather than it going over the fence. That's not failure in your life. Okay? You're playing a meaningless game. That doesn't exist. There is no failure, okay, on the field within your performance. The only failure is going to be me doing that, maybe me popping up to the first baseman to end the game, and then feeling like a lesser version of me or a lesser version of me as a human being after the fact, and then getting down on myself, and then tearing down my self-belief, self-confidence, and never betting on myself again. That is the true failure, okay? That is the true failure. Now, once that's established within you, your belief system, and who you are as a human, there's no such thing as a repercussion, right? Because we just established that physically there's no such thing as failure, and that's probably the worst thing that's going to happen if you have those beliefs set in stone and you bet in yourself. The worst thing that's going to happen is you fail in a game, you strike out, you pop up. Bro, that's nothing in this life. Nothing. There is no such thing as failure when you always bet on yourself. Because you know what? You're just going to go do it again the next time, and the next time, and the next time. There's nothing there that's going to make that not a reoccurring event. You're going to do it over and over and over, no matter what the results are out there. right? Therefore, there's no such thing as failure. Therefore, there's nothing that can bring you down from yourself. If you are solid and grounded into who you are and your true ideal self every single day, it simply doesn't exist, right? So there's no repercussion, right? I mean, the next worst thing is probably having your teammate talk about you behind your back. Maybe your coach talking about you behind your back. Like, all right, you're already foundationally strong within yourself that you don't even care what these people say. So that's not really a repercussion. I mean, cool. They can go ahead and do that. It's normally a reflection on them anyways. They're probably jealous of you or your situation or feeling like I don't know. Who even knows? It doesn't really matter. As long as you are grounded within who you are and you're confident in that fact each and every single day, none of that stuff even matters. Like, it's all just blah, blah. It's all blah, blah. Like, no one really cares. So there's truly no repercussion in betting on yourself because you'll just get back up and do it again. The only repercussion is going to be getting out of this groundedness within you and going into lies and not living in reality that you're actually him. Like, you can actually do anything you set your mind to. We're human beings, and human beings are very powerful.